I don't really believe that something's done too fast or too slow anymore. I don't believe in that. So when you feel like, oh, maybe I can just do this another day, just assume that you're not going to. Just assume that you're not going to get that opportunity. And I make that assumption every single day, that no matter how good I am, there's no guarantee, because I'm not entitled to anything. If I make $1 million, I'm not entitled to keep it. If I have great health today, I'm not entitled. Like, I would hope that I can, but that's illogical. We're just not entitled to that. So you might as well go ahead and be tired. If you're going to be tired, go ahead and get it done and be tired. You're going to be tired anyway. You're not going to expend. You might as well just go do it.
Welcome to another episode of Around the Way podcast, where we help you get around your obstacles and help you find a way to redesign your life. We have somebody in here today that is literally someone that, when you talk about wearing like all the hats, like multiple hats, she's saving lives, she's changing lives, she's showcasing her work on television as well. But she is just literally somebody that I'm personally inspired by. Her story, her brand, everything that she represents. Could you introduce yourself to the people?
Hi, guys. Hi, I'm Makeda Young, or also known as Ty in Carolina, and I'm just a fan of Kyle and Kiana here, so I don't know about anything else that's been said, but that's why I came, because I was like, ooh, fans premiere, so yeah, sure. But yeah, born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been in the Army for about 10 years now. Time Carolina's been going strong for 3 years, currently applying to PA school, hoping to do multi-specialty surgery. And if I save some people along the way, including myself, then hell yeah.
I love it. I love it. So I guess one of the biggest things that we talk about in this season, so I know you heard a lot at the first episodes in the first season, but the biggest, I guess, the biggest USP, like our unique selling proposition in season 2, is pulling back the curtain, right, on the brand, so that people can really be able to see who you are as an individual. And I think it's so much more inspiring, so much more empowering when we can actually see the human being instead of, hey, I'm this title. So I guess before we get into the meat and all of the fun things that we have planned for you today, in a positive way, of course, who are you?
Ooh, that's such an amazing question. I think it changes day to day. I am who I need to be for whatever moment I need to be in. And I can't say I'm the same person every single day. I'm not entitled to being the same person every single day, because I don't get that opportunity. Oh, wow. And that's because life happens. Time is so relative that I may not get that chance to be my funny self when I want to be funny, or I have to be more serious. So I am exactly who I need to be for who I need it to be with, and the opportunity that presents itself. And I think that even though it might not sound as poetic or it might not seem as definite, I can't say every day I get to be Captain Young, because that's not true. Every day I'm not Captain Young. And every day I'm not Ty in Carolina. And because I might not put my eyebrows on this morning. I'm like, you know what? I'm browless, y'all. Like, edges are not slick down today.
Literally.
So I'm who I need to be. And sometimes it's my best, and sometimes it's my absolute worst.
I already know what
Following that quote, you already know. So if you could be one of those people, right, who would you choose to be on every day?
And it's something I never say out loud, but my real name is not Ty.
I know.
My real name is
I wrote it down.
My real name is Makeda Young. And so sometimes I just want to be her, somebody who's unknown, somebody who's not known, so that I don't have to live up to any false, expectations that somebody else has created for myself. And some place that I'm allowed to fail, and some place that's more safe for me. But obviously you can't live life a safe side. It's just not fun. There's no love without hate. There's no pain without glory, So I get that part, but sometimes I just want to be her, because that's who I was born as from my parents. That's who they made me to be, and life made me everything else. So sometimes I just want to be her.
So you talk about life made you everything else, right?
Yes.
I don't want the poetic story.
Right.
I want the painful story. So what was that story that made you into who you are today, or inspired you to do the things that you're doing today?
I would like to say that, I was born here, like 2 streets over.
Oh.
Literally. Like literally Presbyterian. A tree crashed through my house when my mother went into labor right off of temporary.
She went into labor?
Yeah, when she went to labor, Hurricane Hugo, the very center of the storm, landed that day.
Wow.
And I actually went to Hawthorne Middle School, which no longer exists, which is this next street over from here. And unfortunately, my mom died when I was 13 years old. I was just about to start high school, and I'm the one who found her.
Wow.
And it kind of made me toughen up, you know? Like, I was the person that's like, I still went to school the very same day. As long as the ambulance came and I had to go to school the same day. Because...
Yo, this is just got spicy. Oh,
you
my
know,
God.
You know, I tried to perform CPR.
Wow.
The firefighters came in, you know, they did they pronounced her dead. And I was like, you know what? There's no reason for me to fail now. What? Like, I can't make an excuse for myself. And my mother was barely, like, you can imagine this biracial woman who had, like, no concept of reality on a lot of things. I'm like, Mom, like, why am I wearing Walmart? Like, everybody else got this. Like, you know, it was just, she wasn't in this time. And so she didn't really let me function in a form of, like, you get to feel bad because of this. Like, she just didn't let me function in that space. And so when she died, I knew that there was no way, absolutely, that I could function in that space now. And so I just kept living. And so everybody kind of looked at me like I was crazy. On the inside, of course, I'm falling apart. But on the outside, I was like, you know what? I can't fail now. So every day I was like, you have to be a little bit better. You have to be a little bit better. This wasn't so good, but tomorrow you got to start over. And every single day, it was like a switch. I start over every single day. It's like I wake up out of a dream and I'm like, okay, start over. And I don't know why I can't snap out of it. Maybe I need a therapist. I'll go Google that after this. But that's what kind of made me who I was before I joined the military. Then I joined the Army, deployed. Some crazy things, of course, were happening there. You know, I'm a commander. And that was pretty rough, just being a 24-year-old commander. You don't know anything. Wow. You think you're at the top of the world. I'm this cool officer. And I just didn't know anything, and I did the best that I could.
I thought it was no, it's all good. I think, like, oh my God. So, yes, please go. Please go.
Okay, so I know a lot of times when things like that happen and then we keep going like that, at some point it catches up to us. Like, we can do it for some period of time, and then it hits us at some point, maybe not immediately. Do you think it's hit you yet?
You know, I think it caught up with me after I lost a few soldiers. Then it hit that death is real. For some reason, I functioned in this alternate realm where I was kind of untouchable, maybe. But it just didn't feel like something that affected me enough to where it prevented me from doing anything until that happened. Then I really saw it face to face. Because when you're a kid, you're 13, 14, life is happening so fast. You're a teenager, you got to get to school. But when you're an adult and you're sitting down, all the bills are paid. You know, Netflix isn't running a special anymore. Then you're like, oh, wait, that actually happened to me. And I think it only hit me when people started asking me questions that I didn't have answers to. So when people are like, oh, so when you get married, like, who's going to help you do that? It was like, your mother going to do this?
That?
Oh, people are but it's genuine conversation. Yeah. People are like, oh, I bet you can't just wait to get married. You know, your mother's going to be so proud of you.
Okay.
And you're like, but I don't have answers to those questions.
Yeah.
I don't have a mother to put in that space. So when you have kids, I bet your grandparents are going to be, they're going to be amazing grandparents. Your parents are probably so proud of you. Yes, my dad is proud of me. I know my mother's proud of me, but she can't tell me that. So I literally didn't have answers to those questions. So what did they think about you joining the military? Well, I don't know what my mother would have thought. So that's when it hit me. I don't have something that I conceptually didn't realize I don't have anymore.
This is...
You didn't prepare me for this one.
No, I didn't prepare myself for this one. This is interesting. Wow. And I think so many times, like, we've interviewed a lot of people, right? And I feel like it takes 40 minutes to
get where we're at right now.
To get to where we're at right now. So this is amazing. So how did you function? I know you kind of continue to keep going, right? You keep going. Walk me through, kind of just going back to go forward. So you were 13 when this happened. Walk me through, I guess, your steps after this experience that allowed you to show up every day. I guess walk me through that mindset.
I knew when I walked down the hallway, I was going to get to walk by myself because my dad let me be late to school. So I knew I wasn't going to have to answer any questions. I knew when I walked in the classroom and I sat down, I was like, I'm the second row, third seat from the front. I knew everyone's going to be looking at me, but no one's going to say anything. So I knew I had enough time to prepare myself for the hard part. And so I'm sitting there and I was like, if it's something tough, be real. Go ahead and cry in class. If you feel sick, go ahead and tell them. And I just was honest. So when my teacher looked at me and I felt sad and I just started crying, everybody just gave me space. And so I allowed myself to feel it, but I just didn't allow it to stop. I'm crying, writing my little paper in English class, tears just running on my paper. And I just went through it because what was I going to do at home? I was going to do the same thing. Then I was going to be completely out of it. And so every day I prepared myself. And I don't know how I was smarter at 14 than I am at 31, because I definitely think, I look back, I'm like, wow, you were awesome. I'm like, what the hell are you doing now? But yeah, I just gave myself time. And I allowed myself to fall apart whenever I needed to in any space. Because who was going to judge me? Who was going to say that, you shouldn't be that way? No one was going to do that to a kid. So I just kind of showed up every day, and whoever I had to be for that moment, I was. So if I failed in that moment, I failed. If I cried, I cried. But the next day I had to start over. But I had to be the best I could when I walked in. When I walked in that doors, head, you look straight. You give, proper, good mornings, hellos. And then when you sit down, that's when you can figure out what you need to do. But that first few steps has to be the best steps you can give that day. So every day I'm going to start over.
That's such a powerful lesson. Just for anybody listening.
It hurt.
And just kind of like in life in general, right? Those first few steps have to be the best. Mm-hmm. You have to put your best, I guess, self forward. So I guess anybody that's going through that, because you're still kind of just coming back, right?
I feel like I'm about to start crying.
No,
and we
please
watch
do.
everybody else cry, like, in these conversations. But I feel like I'm going to start crying at some point in this conversation. Literally.
We've literally talked to people and they're on the other side, crying.
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you look at somebody, when you see somebody, and this is why we do what we do, right? I see you as a force to be reckoned with. But it's your real story, that makes you you. And I think a lot of times we question so many things in life that we don't have the answers to, like you said earlier. What is one of the questions that you're asking yourself right now that you don't have the answer to?
Sometimes I literally ask myself how I'm still here.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's not like an existential space. I literally sometimes sit there and I'm like, how the heck are you still here? You have literally made so many mistakes. You were never supposed to be guaranteed anything. And I'm pretty sure we'll get to the part where I was diagnosed with cancer in 2017, right before Christmas. And I was never supposed to make it. Like, I had a good chance, and then I had a really bad chance, and then it was lower. And I think you were never supposed to get out of that. You were never supposed to come back from deployments. You were never supposed to make command. And sometimes I sit here and I'm like, it's theoretically impossible. And I still can't answer it. And I know I say God. I know that. But then there's after you do the equation, well, what's in the middle of it? How did you get there? How did A become A squared? And I really don't have that meaning. And I don't know if I ever will. I know I'm important in some degree, but me, out of all the people who do amazing things throughout the day, they don't get that chance to wake up tomorrow. How me?
So how you?
I don't know. Because I know one thing I do know for a fact, it's not me. I'm not doing it. It is not me. As smart as I like to think I am, and biochemistry and this molecular component in my real job or this mathematical equation, I know that is something I am not doing. I am not capable intellectually, spiritually, or in any capacity to keep myself alive for the next day, that I could prevent all these little small fractions of I can't do it. So whoever's doing it, whatever angel just stopped me from tripping and breaking my neck as I walked up those stairs, big shout out to you. The fact that I didn't run that red light. I was riding in the bus lane today, just chilling in my own world. And then a bus came behind me and I was like, this is probably their lane. I should probably get out of it. But that wasn't me. No one honked at me. No one drove me off. No one flipped me off. Why not? Why didn't they? That was the only car. So it's not me, though.
Wow. When you think about, I guess, it's true favor on your life, right?
Yeah.
So I guess when you think about everything that you've experienced, and we can go so many different ways from this, when you think about everything that you've experienced, when you think about everything that you've kind of been through, right, or that's happened for you, not, against you, what was the breaking point in your life where you realized that it's not you, it's a higher being, it's a higher power?
I think I realized it this second round when they thought the cancer came back. And I think I realized it even more. And it's so funny you asked. And I posted it this morning at 1:00 in the morning. I said, you guys, I don't know how God's doing it, but I'm not dodging bullets. I said he's literally putting people's weapons down to stop the situations from ever happening. So I never have to be like conscious that bad things are happening. That's how I'm living. Like, bad things happen all the time, but I really don't have to worry about them most of the time. And I don't know how. But this second round of I remember my doctor calling me, and I work on the Army side for a 2-star, the president's coming. I'm the girl who's like making sure everything's done, right? And she's like, I'm sorry. She's like, I have to tell you, but we think it came back. And it was deafening. But if I knew if it came back, I had a 50% chance. And then I knew for sure if that, my health would decline. And I was like, you know what? If I get lucky, shoot, bet. I'm going to do everything I can every single day. And I got lucky. I had a surgery, did a biopsy. Next day they were like, all right, you're good. Keep on living the next 5 years. Do your best. And so I was like, I don't know how. Statistically, I should have had cancer again. How? There's hundreds of people at Levine Cancer Institute. Why did I get good news?
Wow. Let me say something. It is so rare, and Kyle knows this. It is so rare that I meet people and I really like them. Like, you know that true.
No, literally.
It's very rare that I meet people that I really like. And then you came in just very positive. And we meet a lot of people that come in positive, but it's a facade. Like, it's a representative, and it's like they feel like they need to present well. Mm-hmm. But you really genuinely are like, I feel you to be a good person.
Thank you.
And I don't know. It's so weird. That is so weird. I have a question for you, though.
Sure.
Is there anything in your life that you feel guilty about?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, there's this one thing that always pops in my mind, and it's something I live with every single day. There's not a single day. Well, there's 2 big things, one with my mother and one with my soldier, because my mother is more prevalent in the conversation. I remember I went to bed extremely late that night, and where she died is only a couple miles from here. I went to bed extremely late. I never go to bed that late. I'm in the 8th grade, about to go to 9th grade. I should have been asleep. I was about to get my butt beat if I didn't, right? And normally I go check on her at that night, and I pull her blanket up, and I look at her, make sure she's breathing. I was just a conscious kid like that. And that night, I got halfway down the hallway, and then I said, tonight you don't have to do it. It's the one time that I didn't do it, and I don't know why I didn't. And I know to some degree it probably wouldn't have changed anything, but she died at like 12:06. It was like 11:30 something. And I'm like, why did I not go in there? That is the only time, like, in my existence, even since I was 5 years old, I would go in front of my mother's bed. Her TV would be behind her. I would look at her because she slept crossways, turn the TV off, look at her, and I would leave. But that night I was up so late, and I walked down there, and then I turned around, and I remember I cut the bathroom light off, and I went to my room, and then I woke up at 8:05 the next day. And I was like, she didn't come wake me up. How dare her? And I stumbled down the room. Hey, get up. I'm going to be late. And that's when I realized, like, she wasn't alive. And I'm like, and I think back, why didn't I? Mm-hmm. Why didn't I? I don't know. I don't think it was some crazy reason I didn't, but I just didn't. And I to this day, I don't know why I would get 75% there and then turn around. I was a brute force kid. I did everything like abrasively. Like, exactly. I didn't.
What things are you now extra cautious about?
Ooh, playing with people. Ooh, I am so cautious with not being intentional about how I make somebody feel or how I interrupt people in their livelihood. I'm so conscious about being careful about that because I thought that we all kind of just moved haphazardly together. And, we kind of just shuffled along. And then I realized we really do interrupt other people's lives when we're not thinking about what they have to do and what we're asking them. Or I really didn't think this is how they would feel if I said something like that. And I just wasn't conscious of that. So now when I hear things, I hear my own voice. I'm like, dang, did you really take into account, were you being selfish? And once I realized I really was selfish, then I like, okay, you need to apologize. And I usually wouldn't have apologized. But now I'm like, you know what? I genuinely am sorry. That was not cool, and I'm really sorry. And so I'm really more conscious about that in my 30s than I was in my 20s because I didn't really think what I did or what I said mattered so much to somebody, and it actually does, no matter how big or how small. And it makes me cringe to some of the things that I wasn't conscious of, like literally, like why wasn't I better?
Mm-hmm. When you think about, because I really do believe that you're a living testimony.
Thank you.
When you think about everybody that's listening, right? Because my grandmother passed 2.5 years ago, and that's been very challenging for her and for the family as well. When you think about somebody that has lost somebody, or you think about somebody that is really struggling in their life to kind of keep going or keep showing up for themselves, what advice, what strategies, what would you say to that person?
I said earlier, like, time is relative. I don't really believe that something's done too fast or too slow anymore. I don't believe in that. So when you feel like, oh, maybe I can just do this another day, just assume that you're not going to. Just assume that you're not going to get that opportunity. And I make that assumption every single day, that no matter how good I am, there's no guarantee, because I'm not entitled to anything. If I make $1 million, I'm not entitled to keep it. If I have great health today, I'm not entitled. Like, I would hope that I can, but that's illogical. We're just not entitled to that. So you might as well go ahead and be tired. If you're going to be tired, go ahead and get it done and be tired. You're going to be tired anyway. You're not going to expend. You might as well just go do it. And if it's something that you love, do it because you absolutely know that you're the only person that should be doing it. And just do it anyway, even if it hurts. And it's kind of an impulsive thing with me. I'm like, sometimes I don't want to say something to somebody. I'm like, and then I just blurt it out. And I'm like, it's probably awkward. They probably like, what is wrong with this girl? But I just do it. Because I don't think we're going to get that many more opportunities. I just don't think so. And I know it sounds crazy, but how many times do we do something until we just can't? Like the average person that runs the Olympics, it's like 4 minutes that they train for 4 years. That's one time that they have to get it right. Who says they're even going to get a chance to get it right the next time? Like, we're not guaranteed nothing. Why are, like, astronauts, they only get to go up 1 time or 2 times, or, you go to the NFL, you go to Super Bowl this time, or you have that one amazing surgery. That's that 1 or that 2 times where it's a miracle. You don't know if you're going to even get the opportunity to make it that 1 or that 2 times. So you might as well just do the 10 times. You might get lucky twice. I want to be lucky every time, but I know that I'm not entitled to that.
So how do you approach relationships with people? I know we've had so many conversations with different guests up here about, people that they feel like they need to remove from their life, or they feel like this person's not bringing anything to the table. And then it's like, well, I'm working up to getting rid of that person, or I'm working up to shifting the communication or whatever. Like, how do you approach it in your life?
Ooh, I have been so bad at relationships. But D, you tell it. I put it on Instagram so everybody knows how bad. Everybody can read my story, be like, wow. Wow, how many is that this month? Make a tally of her relationships. I've been horrible. I don't necessarily remove people. I just let it fade. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily need to just tell them, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Mm-hmm. I just kind of let them fizzle in that understanding that this wasn't good for either one of us. But I don't lose friends very often. Like, I have the same cool friends, and even if we are angry with one another, I know we're gonna come back. They're gonna come back. My best friend was like, I don't like you for 2 whole years, and I was like, every day I was like, she's coming back today. She's coming back, and she came back 2 years later, and I was like, bam, bingo, she's back. She loves me again. We were just mad at each other for this time. She came back, and I knew she would. I just had to wait. But as far as like relationships with people, I don't meet so many people that I have this continuity of friendship with them. I just don't get that opportunity. But the people that I do meet, I am full on. We are having the best day ever. And we're going to do all this stuff, and I'm going to be happy, and I might trip and fall, but it's going to be awkward, but it's okay. It's okay. And I try to just do that when building relationships, but I usually won't go after being somebody's friend that I know I can't continue. So if I see you and I know you need friends like for the longevity, I won't attempt it. I'll kind of just not go out with you. If I know I can't keep it up. They're like, hey, I wonder if I want to invite you to this. And I just won't go. And people know that, like, as busy as I am in Charlotte, you don't see me at anybody's stuff. If I know I can't continue to support you, I'm not going to start that way just to not be a supporter later. I'll give money. I will donate to your cause. I promise. I will buy that T-shirt. I will do something online, but I probably won't be there.
Why is that?
Because I don't want to fail anybody that needs me or thinks that I should be there when I know I can't. I can't be everything. I've tried to be everything. And recently I found how impossible that was, because then I started to fail myself. I'm used to being everything to everybody in every moment because that's what's been required of me. And only because I just left active duty, I realized how impossible that really was. Active duty gave me less of a limitation than being a civilian did. And I started to realize I really can't make it to this meeting. I was the vice president of my neighborhood for the past year and a half. I sat on the board for the National Guard Association. I am a freaking applicant. I just run a national award in chemical technology. And then I submitted another award, top 16. And I was doing really good. But then I was failing in so many other parts that it was weighing out. I was a loser and a champion all at the same time. So I don't do that with people. If I know I can't continue, support where you can, but it doesn't need to be seen. I can't do it.
What are you thinking?
What are you writing, Kyle?
Nah, I wrote down what she said, the losing champion. I love that because I think a lot of times, and you know, I've been there, right? I was very successful in business. I was very successful, you know, as an entrepreneur, as this, you know, award-winning educator and this author and all these great things that society saw, but behind the curtain, kind of like pulling back the curtain, I wasn't really happy with who I was internally, really battling with like serious anxiety and depression. You know, wasn't the man that I knew that God intended for me to be. And I was like, this can't be right. It's kind of like, and even as a man, we work so hard, or society pushes us to work so hard to create for the world. Like you have to show up for your community. You have to show up for your kid. You have to show up for your family. You have to show up for everybody. But it's like, well, what about me showing up for Kyle? And then it's kind of like you get like thorns thrown at you and arrows thrown at you when you take a freaking day off. Or, hey, can I go get a haircut? Like, can I just go get my feet and nails done?
You feel guilty.
I feel guilty for taking care of Kyle. And like, you definitely understand that. So when you did feel guilty in those moments, how did you bounce back to now you've realized and been able to create more balance in your life? Walk me through that process of, I guess, what really happened that led you to like, it clicked for you. And then what did you do those next steps to being able to get to the point where you're at right now?
The anxiety is what clicked for me. Like, this just recently happened. You learned what you're talking about, you know, this time ago, and you've made your parameters. I'm learning and trying to fix it now. So I can't say that I'm speaking from a form of like, oh, I'm expert level. I am like mediocre at best. Like maybe a 5 out of 5 if I'm really being generous with myself. 5 out of 10, excuse me. I love go get my nails done, right? I love go to get my toes done. And one time I got it done, like within a week and a half, I got it done again. And somebody's like, you're getting your nails done again? And I got so mad. Aww. I was like, why don't you think I need this? Why didn't other people see that I need this too? And I had anxiety talking to that person the next day because I felt like I had to say, oh no, I'm working on this molecular component of it. Like, I felt like I had to say something stupid like that just so that I could show them that I'm still working hard. And that is so dumb. And that's when I realized it gave me anxiety to talk to certain people because I felt like they held me to a standard that I wasn't even realistic for anybody, let alone myself. And so that's when it clicked, like, you just got to do it. It's okay. It's your money anyway. They didn't even offer to pay. Judging me and didn't even pay for the bill. Thanks. And then I was like, hey, you can send me a gift in the mail. And then that went well. But literally, I felt so guilty for wanting to do it again because I just needed to zone out someplace. So from then on, I just said, just take the opportunities. If you get the opportunity to go get your nails done, just go do it. Or if you want to go to the spa and you can afford it, just go again. And that just started clicking for me probably a week and a half ago. I'm still working on it. Next week, I'll be like, why am I doing this? I'll be at home, like, must type on computer now. But, you know, I just found that out about myself.
Wow. We're going to go on a commercial break.
Oh, so I was wondering. Welcome back from our commercial break, first one. So we have been having a lovely conversation just about a whole lot of things. Like, we just have this super intelligent, articulate, brilliant, just being here with us, and it's just so refreshing. Like, it's been such a refreshing conversation.
It really is. It really is. It challenges a lot of my perspectives about life. I think one thing that you said that really has struck a nerve, right, is that you're not entitled to anything. And that, I believe you said, time is relative, right? And because I think so many times in our audience, probably there's somebody, at least one person, that one believes that they're entitled to a lot of things that they're not, but continues to put off a lot of things, whether it's, I'm going to wait until I have more money to propose to the love of my life, or I'm going to wait until next month when I'm a little bit more freer at work to go see my mother, or I'm going to wait to take my kid to this specific place. And I think about, like, what really hit me is that I couldn't imagine waking up at 8:05 and walking into the room and Carter's not breathing. And I honestly cannot even envision me living anymore. I could not imagine waking up to my dad or to my mom at 13 years old and then going to school the next day.
The same day.
Like the same day. And I just believe there's a strength and there's a power to you that has transferred over to leading, soldiers, leading, medical professionals, leading in a lot of different ways. So I guess my question to even start off is, like, first, wow. So I guess my question to start off is, you've been a lot and kind of like everything for everyone, and you've led in so many different ways, and I feel that. But what do you need in this season that doesn't require you?
Ooh, that hit me hard. Oh, I felt like I think I slunched down because I was like, oh man. I type notes. Anybody I'm talking to now, like a guy, I ask them to do a shared notes so that they can read my thoughts or things I'm afraid to say. And I tell them, there's one column called emotional support. And I have to tell them that I want somebody to know that I'm tough, but not expect me to be tough all the time and to kind of know what I need without me having to explain it to you. And it would be really nice to wake up and somebody like, you know what? She always late. Every day she late. Let me just put her jeans on this place so that when she's walking out, she's not looking through this pile. Or she's, you know what? Her car is always on E. I don't know how that Camaro outside still run because it just be on E, and I'm like, I got 5 miles to go. I can make it. Then I'm like, as I coast into like the QT, which they should know me by now because I'm always like, pumping in. There's somebody that just does those things for me because they know that I need them. Because I'm never going to ask you.
Yeah.
I'm never going to ask you to do anything, but it would be nice for somebody to just be conscious that I'm a human being too, and that I have all the same, emotional facets that everybody else does. I want that type of, care and consideration. And I just feel like all too often we don't give that to other people, or we give that to other people and they don't know how to give it back. And even when you explain it, it doesn't work. And it's not because they're not trying. It's because they originally didn't want to. So it doesn't feel the same. When somebody doesn't naturally want to be considerate.
It's different.
It's different
Yeah,
when you're like, okay, I remembered to do this today.
Yeah.
When it's natural. For me, I already know. You like your salmon fried this way. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. I'm like, oh, your white shirts. I'm like, you got that stain? I know that's your favorite shirt and you're sad about it, but I already ordered it on Amazon when we were talking, so it's coming tomorrow, same day. Things like that we just don't get from other people, and it's kind of hard. Like, I would like that. I would like that in a relationship, part of my life, because everything else, my best friends are amazing. My dad is amazing. Like, if I want it, he's going to make sure I have it, But as far as like somebody that doesn't have to choose me, that they're choosing me because they want to take a risk with me.
Yeah.
That's what I would like from somebody, because my best friends, they're godsend. My dad's godsend. My brother's godsend. But I just want a person that's in life, functioning in this world just like I am, and it's like, you know what? You're worth it. I want somebody to feel like that for me, and it be something that they can't control. Not like obsessed stalker, like breathing, like, oh my God, you're so great. Like nothing like that, because that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's
Pretty much.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's what I get, that's what I get. I can't complain and be like, God, really? Fine. And they're like looking at me through this door.
Like, is that your person?
It's like, that was them though. That's who I kept looking at the whole time. Like, literally.
I'm like, absolutely.
So let me ask you this question, and I feel like I know the answer, but just, for the audience to hear it as well. And maybe, I don't know, we may be surprised. You talk about that you want this person to do it because you're worth it, right? Do you really believe that you're worth it? And if so, have you ever really struggled with knowing your worth?
I would say I know I'm worth it, and I try to enforce to the world and the standard that I'm worth it. And I believe it too.
Okay.
And I do believe that I'm worth it. I can say my confidence probably waned in like a month or two ago because somebody just did something that caught me way off guard. I mean, I wasn't ready for like the Jackie Chan moves. I was like, oh, and I slapped myself in the face. And I was like, well, really, what, was I not worth it? And then I told myself, I'm not worth it in their capacity.
Right.
But that's just them. That's an individual event.
Yeah.
This is just one. And then the way I keep telling myself I'm worth it is because things keep working out. I told you again, I don't know how they're working out. But for some reason, I must be worth them to work out. There's something I'm supposed to maybe do. That's why why I'm here. So it must be some reason that I'm getting these things, or that they're working out for me, or that I'm genuinely happy. There's somewhere. So I may not be consciously knowing that I'm doing it, but I know it's working. So I got to be worth it to somebody. Somebody, damn it. Somebody. I don't know who they are.
All right. So this is the time in our program where I introduce you to the red box in the middle of the table. There are questions in this box. I would like for you to take the box, read the question, and answer it.
Okay.
People always get the question. There is a question I'm hoping she gets, but I don't know if she'll get that question.
All right. What is one thing that you are trying to prevent your future self from experiencing? Oh, man. Out of all questions. Well, I got to tell the truth. Gosh. There's only so many lies you can tell. It's what I did in 2019. I'm trying to prevent that, even if without me knowing that I'm trying to prevent it. I'm trying to prevent it. And that's because in 2018, I was sick. Obviously, I had cancer. I was going through a lot of treatments. And I thought that just because I might not have an opportunity, that I should choose this opportunity. And I didn't kind of weigh it out. And I ran with it. I ran full steam. I was like, if God allows me to live, then this must be it. No, that is not it. And I just kept running full stream ahead until I realized that I wouldn't be able to survive what I was doing. I wouldn't be able to survive the mistakes I was making. And that was just believing that somebody was there to save me. And so I know in the future that no one's coming to save me. No one might be coming to see my greatest moment or my worst moment, but I have to be okay with that. And so I am really trying to prevent myself in the future from relying on thinking that somebody is supposed to be who I need them to be. And I really made a mistake. Made a mistake.
What was the mistake that you made?
Can we talk about 2019?
And how did it make you feel?
I know this is probably bad, but it was with Eat, Work, Play. That was a terrible idea. I really, and I never talked about it in a sense of people probably don't know why or even knew I was involved. But I really took a risk on inviting somebody into my life and then making them a whole part of it and then relying on them holistically, then really vying for their attention and really needing them and expecting them to be who I thought that they should have been. And I just painted this false representation of somebody and I ran with it. And I ran with it so hard that I became unrecognizable. And so, I really regret doing that, not because I lost so much money. Money is money. Although I like it, money is money. But the damage that it did to my personal my personal reputation was so damaging that for like a good 90 days, I just really couldn't see who I was anymore. And I really believed that person to be who they were. And so in the future, I start by asking the person, are you who you say you are? Are you as advertised? And they probably like, why are you so aggressive? I'm like, you have no idea what aggressive is. Tell me right now. If you're just trying to play with me, play with me. If you just want clout to be on my Instagram, just tell me. I understand that. But I ask them up front. And they're like, well, why are you just so aggressive with something like that? And I'm like, because that wasn't something I even thought I was going to survive. That was worse than cancer. That wasn't a breakup. That was like an intentional malicious things that were done by people who consciously knew what they were doing. And that is something that I never thought or fathomed could come out of people that I knew. I've been screwed over before, but it wasn't intentional. People make mistakes.
Yeah.
But that was like in your face.
Malicious.
I want you to suffer because I want what you have, and I want to make sure you're as miserable as I am. And hearing them say those words was even worse. I was like, there's no way. People make mistakes. They're forgiven. And they're like, why do you need to forgive me? I have no remorse.
Really?
Yeah. Looked me in my face and said that. Outside.
Really?
Here. Yeah. Here.
How did that, aside from what you've mentioned about like how you're kind of going about vetting people in your life, what did that tell you about people in terms of what you needed to do?
I didn't really think I could be wrong about people. I didn't think I could be wrong. I thought that everybody makes mistakes. We're all genuinely humans. But I didn't think I could be like that wrong. You know, you're like, oh, okay. No, I was really wrong. Like, the answer wasn't even on the paper, and I'm just circling the blank spaces. And so I used to be able to take people for face value. I really genuinely think that no one would be out here trying to hurt me. Like, why would me? Out of all, there's a ton of people. No one's out to get me. Like, no one's out talking trash about me. Like, I never thought that anybody would do that. I just didn't think. I don't know why I didn't think that. But they really were.
Do you feel like you were chosen in that situation?
Oh, this was a methodical plan. There is no way that I just was rolling along. This was chosen. This was thought about. There was an understanding of what was going on because I wasn't the only one. And once I realized, it like hurt. I was like, was I that weak and desperate that they chose me because they knew they could get over it? That's what hurt me. That's what I don't want to be in the future. Was I that weak that somebody knew that I could be easy prey? I've been this boxer my whole life, and everybody knew I could bet a bet against her and win. And that took me out. I was like, you are not who you say you are. And neither were they, but they got one on you. You lost. You were a loser.
I didn't know that was going, but the red box always knows.
This is good.
Red box always knows.
I won't be that person again, I tell you. Every relationship, every friendship, if I'm going to do it, straight up. That's why we have those notes now. I have a notes. Yeah. Like, you write in there, because that was malicious. That was crazy.
Have you forgiven in that situation? Yourself or the other parties?
I told myself in the beginning I forgave them, and now I don't. Now I don't forgive either one of them. I don't forgive them. I thought, at first I was like, of course, people have feelings and emotions they don't know how to deal with. Duh. Now I'm like, heck no, you're evil. I don't like you. I don't have to like you. You're not entitled to my forgiveness. God needs to forgive you, not me. Go to him, not me. See him, not me. I don't have to, but I don't have to live with it every day either. I don't feel bad about it. I just don't have to, and I won't. I'll forgive myself. Maybe one day, maybe when I get more confidence behind it, once I rationalize why I really did it. And I thought because I had cancer and things were getting worse, that I needed to choose this. Maybe that's where my logic was. But me being such a logical and understanding person, like, why did I allow that to happen? And that's what eats me up. That's what gets me. I'm way smarter than what I did. And everybody's made a ton of mistakes. But that one was just dumb. Like, you look at yourself like, really? You bought that car at 19%? That doesn't even make sense. Like, that's how it was to me. I was like, wow, they really sold me a turd. Wow, this is terrible. Shined it up and was like, here. And I'm like, absolutely. So, yeah, I won't do that again. And so I really am working hard. I'm really working hard. Maybe that's why people come and go so often in my life right now. Because I'm like, no thanks.
That makes sense.
This is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
What thoughts do you have?
Literally,
literally,
because I feel like there's not a lot of times where you can sit across the table from someone and first you like really feel that person's resiliency. Because I think a lot of people communicate from a victim standpoint and they never really have fully reflected, aren't self-aware, and they haven't really moved forward and used it to be able to really push them to be the best while still taking time to balance them. It's not like any holes or voids, but recognizing that they still have room to grow. So literally when you were explaining that, I felt that because I saw on the other end how it affected a lot of people.
Yes.
And it's so interesting how you can see something from the outside by being connected to somebody in the inside and feel that, but really cannot feel it like they feel it because you weren't personally connected. But it's hurt me from a Black man perspective because I'm a little fearful to jump out in the community and create something similar, because I know as a Black male in this community, that painted a terrible representation of how we do business. So it's very interesting, because I fear, like when we threw the conference, like it was helping the community, but it's kind of like when somebody that looks like you paints a representation, they don't just hurt themselves or the people that they're connected to. They also hurt every single other person that has good intention.
Yeah.
So this whole conversation, oh my God, this whole conversation has been about like the battles to becoming the champion, right? And I feel like a lot of times, you know, as athletes, you know, they go through all of these different things to then finally win that one Super Bowl or to win that one NBA championship or that first gold medal, right? And you talk about a lot of the trials, but you also explain a lot of the triumphs. How do you continue to do it every single day? And I understand you talked about your faith. I understand you talked about, you know, this inner push to continue to push. But when you think about, there's a lot of people that have been affected by a lot of different things that have happened to their lives. What is your secret sauce? Because everybody has something.
You know, when I think about what gives me that chance to really face it, it's because I was so embarrassed by that for so long. I was super embarrassed. Like, people really have to now think less of me, even if they didn't know what was going on, or they're going to think less of me in this capacity. Then I got to prove them wrong. Not just prove them wrong, but I have to go out and try at least to show face, to save and see, people see humanity in me. People to see honesty, not innocence. I don't want that to be confused with honesty. To be representative of transparency. I owe that. And as long as I feel like not somebody's one-upping me, but that I owe that to all the things that I've been given in life, that's my sauce. I owe it to today to make it. I owe it to my elementary school teacher who stayed late to help me do this word, which then I recognized it on the SAT. You never know how these little things. I owe it to the lady who stopped shorter to let me cross, and then that saved me from getting hit by this because that guy saw her stop. There's all these little things happening. So my sauce is owing it to everybody who's worked their days and nights to make sure I'm still here. I'm not supposed to, but they did the extra step, so why can't I? So that's my sauce. Like, I have an awesome oncologist that did a life-saving surgery who didn't have to go to school, who didn't have to suffer through organic chemistry. She could have just given up, and then there would have been no one in this state that did that surgery. I owe it to her to make it. I owe it to my bus driver. And I just think about that all the time. Obviously, it's not me. It's all these little people. But, I mean, can you imagine how many things people do throughout the day so that it doesn't affect you? They could have made different decisions. They could have been mean and honked at you as you rode in the bus lane and scared you and then you pressed on the gas. They could have done that, but they don't. So I owe it. So that's my sauce. Every day, I owe it to the game. I owe it to the game.
What do you owe to yourself? What are you trying to prove?
I got to make it. I wasn't supposed to. Maybe I'm not supposed to. Maybe in a year from now it'll be a different story. But I have to. I'm not trying to rush to see my mom. Nothing like that. I love her. I don't want to rush. But I owe it to just want to be here. Like, I'm so lucky. Like, I think about that. Like, I get to, the sun was out today. I went on a little run. Like, how lucky was I to even do that? So I owe that to myself to want to do it. And, you know, I'm proving it. I'm going to be a medical professional on TV talking about this stuff to my community, to people that look like me, that understand my dialect, that understand you can be hood, you can be classy. I want that opportunity, and I'm going to keep fighting till I get there. One day I'm going to talk about a surgery on stage in front of maybe one person or maybe 1,000. I don't know. Even if it's just one. Oh, well. But I owe it. I owe it to them.
Do I have time for one more?
Yeah.
What's something that you wish more people understood about you or saw in you?
That I'm really trying. People think it's easy. Sometimes they're like, oh, you just do everything. I just work a 12-hour shift and my neighbor my neighbor ran in there, and they were like, oh, I wrapped their leg. You know, it was a horrible medical case that went wrong, and I just so happened to know them. But that took every ounce of energy. That took every smile, every fear of me not to bear bad news. And, you know, I hope they see that I'm trying, that it's not easy. Because some people assume, you know, Kyle got this book going. He's sitting down. He's actually signing it. I saw where you set that up. He's just doing it. But no, that took that night where he had anxiety about it. That took that day where Kiana didn't feel like getting up to record this episode and then edit it. I hope they see just how much we do try and just how much I'm trying. It is not easy. I'm not the smartest person in the room, no matter if I think so or not. It takes every ounce of me to have studied before or tried the night before. And me getting up on that board to do that equation, I promised, I cried 30 times over the 29 times it didn't work. And it's the one time I have to show you that I did get it right. But I failed it 29 times before, and it took every ounce of integrity, confidence, consideration for me to even want to do it. And I hope that they see that I'm just not doing it as easy and it's perfect. I cried the night before, and I hope that they know that that's true.
This has been such a rich conversation. Wow.
Thank you.
You are a gem.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness. We're going to do one last thing, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's a rapid fire exercise. So
Okay.
I'm going to say a word, and you're going to say the first word that comes to your mind. Okay?
Okay.
Makeda.
Queen.
Family.
Love.
Motherhood.
Something I want to do.
Okay.
My wish, my dream.
Pain.
Glory.
Sacrifice.
Always.
Purpose.
Initiative.
This is Around the Way podcast, and we'll see you guys next episode.
Bye, guys.